I'm Pippa Chambers, the online editor at AdNews, and today I'm joined by Henry Tajer, the CEO of IPG Mediabrands. And welcome to part 3 of our video series. Thanks for joining us, Henry.
Pleasure.
So I want to hit off a couple of big media issues, so not focused on the company, but some of the wider issues. We've seen a lot of changes in the industry of some of the media agencies changing focus, or maybe creative and media coming back together. When you look at media agencies, how do you see it continuing to evolve?
Well, I think you sort of reference a really good point around some of the new models we're seeing around the world and how agencies and clients are partnering. I think that's going to become more prominent, and a more bespoke approach to partnering is definitely what is required. The whole notion that an agency can impose on a client their structure and their way of working is no longer relevant and no longer realistic. So, and I think that's a good thing, because that will enable agencies and clients to actually focus on what is really important, and I think that's the way forward. There's no question about that.
And while this is a bit of an old issue, it does come up time and time again. It's about some of the big consultancies. So, for example, Accenture or Deloitte. People say cutting the grass of the agency in terms of moving in on a lot of the consultancy side of things, or for example Accenture helping people build their programmatic trading desk. Is this something that does it threaten media agencies, especially as some of those companies ramp up and make more acquisitions?
Well, Michael Roth sort of talked about this on our full year earnings actually in early February. We're still not seeing some of the consulting firms really cut across our scope and remit. In many cases, we're working with those firms to help our clients manage and migrate their evolution as marketers in a changing marketplace. So, I think those firms, through the relationships they have with those corporations in different areas, have been able to take advantage of those opportunities. We're not seeing any loss of business or our scope being reduced. And even in areas where clients are exploring and looking at different models for how they engage programmatic media, we are working with clients directly and consulting to them, as well as where there is another party involved, like an Accenture or a Deloitte, et cetera, And to be honest, we're not finding that to be that troubling at this stage. But we're mindful and aware that they are there, and are staying on top of things.
So it's not bad. It's not bad news if more brands take in do the Brandside platforms. It's kind of it's not something that would.
My personal view on that is, if a brand and or an organisation is better served by having that part of their marketing in-house, then it should be in-house. And as an agency partner, we should support and promote that and help them facilitate that. What we also know that comes with that is a need to maintain and to stay on top of that highly complex and highly dynamic area. It's changing and it's evolving at a rapid rate. Technology is fast changing and very fast moving. So that comes with those decisions, and we are working with a number of our clients already who are exploring and expanding that and helping them. So I think that's a natural sort of cycle and change in the market that we are working with. There's no point trying to fight that. I think it's, I guess it comes down to, we're actively looking to help our clients make the most out of their marketing investment.
And lastly, obviously measurement and transparency have been big areas of concern for the industry. What would you like to see happen in that measurement space, particularly looking at Australia and who's doing what? We've got the industry bodies, you've got certain media agencies speaking out, and various different parties. What's going to help sort of solve the issue?
Well, I think a market like Australia is really well placed to bring all the constituent parts together to talk about what is a meaningful measure moving forward and what is required for that measure to be adopted and to be introduced as potentially a new currency, and to talk openly about what the implications of that are for all members of the marketplace, so that is managed. I think trying to introduce a new measure or any type of sort of big industry sort of currency as is being discussed, and only having one key stakeholder trying to drive that is not going to work. So it needs to be all parties coming together in the same way that the issue and discussion around transparency needs to be one that brings people together, and I think people in the marketplace, from the media, from the agencies, and importantly from the clients, need to talk about transparency and start to talk about translation, and really get underneath, what the key component parts are that have created that lack of clarity, and to work through those openly. But I think it's going to require the industry to come together first, and to start working through a process, as opposed to using sort of headlines to create a solution, which history shows don't seem to be working. So,
do you think we can kind of put aside, some of those big personalities and egos in the media world to get them to all come together and agree? Do you think that's?
I think that needs to be a mandatory. Personal agendas and personal egos or insecurities is not going to help us get to clarity or anywhere closer to a solution that is applicable to the market. So I think that is definitely an issue that the marketplace, and not just in Australia, I think every marketplace has their personalities, and has different parts of the ecosystem looking at this as an opportunity to make a name for themselves. I don't think the whole transparency issue is that platform for individuals to shine. I think it's more a marketplace evolution that needs to happen as a market, as opposed to individuals or individual stakeholders.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
Henry.